Have you ever looked back a month, a year, a few years and think, man, I wish I would have did more? Or why did I do that? Fast forward to the present. Find yourself putting things off till next week or next month? Well, let's talk about the 5 things you can do now to start living intentionally, not eventually. Hello, my name is Lascelles, McCarthy III, and if you're anything like me, well, a human being, you have an innate need to understand the reason and meaning to your life. Well, today, my friends, I am not here to talk to you about that. Well, I mean, not directly. What I can tell you is you deserve to be the happiest you can possibly be as you are on your search. Want to travel more, work out more, date that perfect person, land that dope job, start a YouTube channel? Hell, maybe just want to sit there and stare at a wall. I don't know, whatever floats your boat. Point is, you need a few things to move forward living your best life now. So let's get to it. Here are my 5 tips to living intentionally, not eventually. Tip number 1, avoid creating resentment. Well, how do you do that? Make sure you do things in your life that you enjoy doing and not let it be fueled by how other people respond to what you do. Let's take cooking for instance. If you just have to cook because the wife needs to eat, the kids need to eat, someone has to do it, then it becomes a chore with misplaced value. Now don't get me wrong, it's definitely a hashtag parent life or husband life or whatever life you want it to be, right? Whatever hashtag you want to put there. But if you find a better way to place value in this activity, it'll feel less daunting and you might not want to slit your wrist every time you do it. I value and love to create things from scratch. I love and value experiential moments, and I value and appreciate the presentation of things in an artsy way. So I cook 5 or 6 times a week in my household. I will cook from scratch, not using frozen stuff or canned stuff. I chop the veggies, I slice and marinate the meats, finding the right cooking points, and in the end I like to put all of it in a fancy presentation like you might find in a high-end restaurant. My family does appreciate it, which is nice, and it's reinforcing, but it's not my motivation. Now let's flip it. If I cook knowing that I hate cooking, I loathe it, and my family complains, which I'm sure most of y'all do, about the food, and maybe I'm just annoyed at a family member because they're just on my nerves today, I will feel reluctant to cook, and it'll make my experience just that much more miserable. So let's generalize that to a relationship. If you put value of what you do solely in your partner, you will be disappointed often. You will turn your relationship into a huge contingency spiral of hot and cold, hot and cold, hot and cold. But if you put your value in you will be more consistent with your partner, and their shortcomings will not affect you as much. Which also helps because it makes you a stronger ally to help them when they are in need. When you get upset, you find yourself shutting down, not wanting to do things for that person. That, my friends, is a formula for building resentment. Also, remember to apply the same principles that you apply to other people to yourself. Do not do things in your life that you will resent yourself for doing because you made yourself do it. Find ways to do things in your life that have value to you and you also appreciate doing. On to tip number 2. Do things on purpose. So don't just wait until opportunity shows itself. Don't do things, well, it just happened to work out that way serendipitously. Because first of all, you cannot reliably track things based on chance. When you're doing things on purpose, they're deliberate, they're consistent, and above all, they're meaningful. You know when you get up, things are gonna happen, and that you can drive your day and your decision making in the right direction. Your confidence is fueled, and you will find yourself snowballing into a series of good choices and increased confidence, which in turn releases positive energy. It's kind of like math problem. There are formulas to help reach a solution. If you get the wrong solution, you can backtrack and see where you made the mistake to quickly arrive back to the correct solution. Whereas, if you just make up a bunch of steps as you go, it's much more difficult to backtrack since you tried so many different methods, you're not really sure where the breakdown happened. So it's harder to kind of come back to get back on track. One of the other benefits of doing things on purpose is ownership. This leads us to tip number 3, choosing how you respond. When you take charge of how you respond, it is less comfortable to make mistakes simply because you know you can reflect and move forward. In practically any situation, you can find some type of ownership, good or bad, that you've contributed to the outcome. Now, this might be hard to hear, but it is what it is. So let's say your job sucks, your pay sucks, your coworkers suck, your commute sucks, blah, blah, blah. Get out of your pity party, take some ownership, and make some changes. Most of the time, it is as simple as changing your perspective. So your job sucks. You think you're the first person to ever think that? Things generally come down to two choices. Find things in your job that you do value, or quit. If your pay sucks, find ways to make more money in your current job, or find a job that will offer you pay that you can appreciate. Coworkers are very important because you tend to spend more time with them than you do your own family sometimes. So this is actually a pretty big deal. Find ways to value them or realize they don't offer any value in your life. And then a third option could just be that maybe you're the one that sucks and you should stop sucking. You could be the reason why coworkers suck, because they don't like you because you suck. Just saying. But now the question is, how the hell do you make these choices? Well, that brings us to tip number 4. Ain't nothing to it but to do it. That's pretty straightforward. There's not a whole lot of explanation you can do on that. That's how we talk here down in Texas. Ain'ts and y'alls and all kind of stuff. You need to do something, just do it. House needs to be clean, just do it. You need to work out, just do it. You got to make some changes at work, just do it. Just freaking do it. A lot of the time we're going to sit back on our butts and be like, well, but what about this and that? And what about this is so-and-so? And what are they going to say? And how are they going to think? And blah. It doesn't matter. Doesn't freaking matter. Just do it. Do it on purpose. Do it for yourself. Choose how you're going to respond. Your options is to sit by idly or participate in your life. Lascelles, bruh. What you're suggesting, first off, isn't easy, but most likely sounds like it's super stressful. Well, my friends, this is why you need tip number 5. Tip number 5 is center yourself. This one's gonna be kind of different for different people. If you're a person that likes to go to church, that can be your center. If you're a person who likes to do yoga, that can be your center. If you're someone who likes to sit in a room and stare at a wall, well, that could be your center. If you're just a spiritual person in nature, that's your center. What you do to bring quiet to your world around you, that is you centering yourself. Find what works best for you. You have to find time centering yourself every day. And I would recommend centering yourself first thing in the morning, sometime during the day, just to find a quiet space, go to your car, somewhere, break room, wherever. And then again, right before you go to bed. How can you get yourself back to calm? Keeping yourself in check and not letting your anxiety and external influences manipulate your mind and your subconscious. Because if you have a lot on your mind and you go to sleep and you hit that REM and that subconscious kicks in, bro, who knows what the hell you're gonna wake up to. You wanna center yourself before you go to sleep because you wanna make sure that you're straight when you wake up so you can start that positive cycle again. So these are the 5 tips to living intentionally, not eventually. But wait, there's a bonus tip. And I wouldn't necessarily call it a tip number 6 because it's not a separate thing. It's actually all the tips combined to create a phrase that you can use to remind you how you can accomplish this every day. And that phrase is create purpose, choosing it yourself. I know. You're welcome. So go out, create your purpose by living intentionally, not eventually. Oh, and one other purpose to fulfill. See you in the next one.